The laughter was sharp, echoing across the dusty range, bouncing off steel targets like cruel ricochets. A flash of pink in her hands drew every eye and every smirk. A pink rifle, fragile-looking, toy-like. At first it was just chuckles, then full-blown mockery, until the single crack of her shot rolled across the valley, and silence fell heavier than thunder. Her name was Maria, 56 years old, a janitor at the very shooting club where the young men now mocked her. Her faded work shirt smelled faintly of bleach, her shoes worn thin from endless mopping. She blended into the background like wallpaper, invisible. Yet her eyes, quiet, steel gray, carried stories no one asked about. When she carried that pink rifle, the men saw only a cleaning lady playing dress-up, not a warrior, not a sniper. "Not someone with a past! Careful, Grandma!" one of them jeered. "Don't scratch your toy." She only smiled faintly. They strutted with camo hats and loud voices, betting each other on who could hit the farthest target. Every miss was excused with swagger. Every glance toward Maria dripped with arrogance. "You even know which way the bullets go?" another asked, his friends roaring with laughter. Maria adjusted the sling across her shoulder. Her silence only fueled their cruelty. The instructor shook his head. "Let her try. Won't hurt anyone." Snickers spread like wildfire. The range smelled of gunpowder, sun-baking hot brass into the dirt. Maria walked to the line, calm, methodical, while the men whispered their bets on how badly she would fail. Then it happened. A tall man in uniform, cap tucked under his arm, froze as he caught sight of Maria's stance. His voice dropped to a whisper. "That's military. That's not hobby shooting." The chatter died down. He stepped forward, eyes narrowing as Maria settled into position. Her grip, her breathing, the subtle adjustments, unmistakable. "Ma'am," he said respectfully. "What unit?" Maria's eyes flicked up. "Just for a second. Doesn't matter." But the authority in his tone carried weight. The younger men shuffled, suddenly unsure. She pressed cheek to stock, exhaled, and squeezed. The shot cracked. Then, 2 full seconds later, the distant ping of steel rang out. A perfect hit. 2,000 meters, the officer nodded slowly. "I thought so. You were with the 3rd Rangers, weren't you?" Maria said nothing, but her silence confirmed more than words ever could. The young men stared, dumbfounded. Their laughter shriveled as the officer continued. "She was the one they called Hawkeye. 3 tours, covered units pinned down in valleys you'll never find on a map. People are alive today because of her trigger finger." Maria lowered the rifle gently, almost tenderly. Her hands trembled, not from weakness but memory. She had left that world behind after losing her brother in combat. The pink paint? A tribute to the bright pink ribbon he tied around his gear so she could spot him in the chaos of battle. The range was silent. One of the young men stepped forward, his voice awkward, ashamed. I didn't know." "I'm sorry, ma'am." Maria only nodded, slinging her rifle. She didn't crave apology. Respect was enough. The officer gave her a crisp salute, his voice firm. "Heroes don't always wear uniforms, but we remember." And as she walked away, returning to her quiet janitor's life, the pink rifle gleamed in the sun, not a toy, not a joke, but a legacy. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs reminding. True worth is never on the surface. Heroes walk among us in silence, carrying battles we'll never see. Subscribe to our community where hidden stories are honored, and remember, respect costs nothing but means everything.